truck. Air vest. That's like a.
We'll
we
get trouble
got
down
problems
turn
in
number
turn number one. Smoke coming out of the.
Looks like Kelly Sutton, maybe the 02 truck.
Back of the 02 of Kelly Sutton. As she spun around and has damage, and looks as though the left front tire flat.
Right down in the fastest part of the racetrack, too. She's very lucky she's staying off that wall.
She's got to be very careful. You see the left front tire down. You see the fender flapping a little bit. If that tire blows out, it will rip that fender off. There's the very end of what happened there. See the roof flap come up on the truck. That keeps the trucks on the ground.
A very weird place to get spun around going into turn one.
I don't think we're seeing the contact that led up to that truck spinning right there, because spinning at that point of the racetrack is almost sure contact with the outside wall.
We're 20 laps into this race right now. The 20 laps complete. I'm not sure we're going to see any pit stops.
A lot of damage to that 02 truck right now as it drives around. Tires beating the heck out of that fender. You see it right there. Very violent.
Tire doing more damage than maybe even the contact had done.
Right front is flat as well.
Tire begins to tear away from the rim and tear away from that front fender.
Pit road still closed, yeah.
Is closed. The official giving them the red with the yellow cross, meaning the pit road is closed as we're under our first caution at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Mike Skinner continues to lead Dennis Setzer, Bobby Hamilton, Carl Edwards, Chad Chapman. Caution number 2 has come out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The Las Vegas 350. David Reagan got back into the infield. Didn't have enough the first time, so he thought he'd take another spin through the infield. This is a look coming off of turn 4.
You see him get sideways coming off turn 4. It looked very much like his first spin. Went through the grass. The first one didn't. He made no contact this time either, I don't think. So he's got no contact, but he's having a lot of trouble negotiating turn 4.
He was kind of in the middle of the pack there, and all that smoke and the dirt flying up. I believe that is what brought out the caution, as opposed to the last time when he was more or less on his own.
Now you see that this caution's kind of a break for those guys that didn't pit the first time around, as we watch them coming down pit road right now.
Steve Park leading the field down pit road. We are on board also with Mike Skinner, who's coming down pit road. Wendy.
Shane Meal is back in. He came in on lap 22 but took fuel only and got in with Dennis Setzer, so he didn't gain a whole lot of track position, so he decided to come back in. 4 tires and fuel. He's been having troubles with his engine, not happy with the performance of that DEI engine. Let's go to Ray.
Thank you, Wendy. Harley Roush and Lance Wilson do the tire changing. Now Steve Park got his truck very close to the wall, and that'll be hard for Craig Neems to get it jacked up. He does have some trouble there. They will get left sides done, but I believe Park's going to lose a little spot here. He will go out second behind Mike Skinner. Now Skinner wanted to go down on the track bar to make a chassis adjustment, and that will tighten him up just a little bit.
See Bobby Hamilton's group putting more tape back on the front of that truck.
And so obviously they weren't too hot, or they wouldn't be putting more tape back on the front of it. Ray, do you have more to add on that?
Hey, Chad, yeah, here's the thing. What they found out was they pulled that tape off earlier, and that made him push really bad. So Bobby Hamilton said he was only at 190 on the water, so they wanted to go ahead and put some tape back on the top side, but they did want to pull the tape off where his oil cooler line goes in, because he was 240 on the oil. So the water ended up being okay, but it made his truck push.
Now these trucks are very sensitive aero-wise. Just taking a little piece of tape off like we saw right there will make the trucks tighten up.
Carl Edwards taking over the top spot as the 2 trucks in front of him came in for a pit stop. So Carl Edwards leading at Las Vegas. Almost 5 seconds in front of second place Mike Skinner. And problems with Carl Edwards as he goes screaming across the front stretch grass, makes his way back out onto the track, but the caution comes out.
It reminded me of Daytona. I think he went through the infield grass at Daytona as well.
He went down pit road at about 180 miles an hour.
Yeah, Carl was really dropping back. Remember now, Carl pitted last on lap 23, so he had about 50 laps on his tires. So he probably had a handful right there. We heard Wendy tell us the Cowboys said they were fighting loose. So that, I tell you, a loose truck is hard to hold on to here for 50 laps like Carl's had to.
And we can go for a ride with Carl Edwards and see just what it's like going through the infield grass at about 160 miles an hour.
We saw the Ford truck on the inside of him. Bobby Hamilton, Carl got loose out on the outside and had to chase the truck down the hill to catch it. Did a nice job driving straight through the grass. So many times when you get in the grass like that, you'll lose control, but Carl maintained control, got back on the racetrack, and it's really going to end up being a break for him because he's going to be able to come in the pits, get 4 fresh tires and fuel, and more than likely, he'll be able to go the rest of the way.
I wonder if he's good enough to spin on his own like that to make the caution come out.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I was going to say Carl Edwards got his start racing dirt tracks in Missouri, so he knows what it's like to go across, well, not at 160 miles an hour, but he knows what it's like to go through the dirt.
Well, he probably did run 160 mile an hour on a big dirt track in one of those Silver Crown cars.
Quite possible.
He's
Carl
talking
Edwards.
to the crew right now saying,
Diesel, they put on a set of 20-lap scuffs that they used in practice earlier today. Why would they do that? They've still got a set of stickers here in the pits.
we got a car spun at the base of turn number 4 right
That's
there.
Ken
The 08
Weaver.
car, Ken Weaver. The caution is out.
Now what do these teams do?
Top
Well,
off with fuel.
Will this get them into their fuel window, and will they change those tires with this many laps to go in the race?
I don't know. There's 60 laps to go right now. We've completed 86 of 146 laps. There's 60 laps to go. I think this will put everyone in their pit window. But Chad, I don't think, and Rick, I don't think they want to put their tires on this soon. They may come in and top off to ensure themselves of being able to make it on fuel. But I'm not sure I would want to put my set of tires on now, knowing I could get a caution with 30 or 35, 25 laps to go, and fresh tires would kill somebody out there.
You know, that's why the crew chiefs are paid to make those decisions. I agree with you, Phil. I don't think you would want to come in right now and put on your last set of tires that you're hopefully saving to win the race. That's what's going to take to win the race, is a fresh set of tires like that. But if you're marginal on your fuel mileage, I believe you have to come in and top off.
At least you're assured of finishing the race if it goes green the rest of the way.
That's right.
If it goes green, then you're in the same boat as everyone else if you don't put your tires on. But I'm sure so many of these drivers and teams would love to save a set of tires for a 25 or 30 lap shootout. If you're the only cat with new tires with 25 laps to go, you've got this race won.
That's right.
We'll find out who will play what strategy when we come back and see who will come down pit road. The caution has come out for the 5th time at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Matt Craftsman, one of the trucks running up toward the front, is coming down pit road. The big story is why we're under caution. We talked about who was in the points championship contention. The gentleman that was in 3rd is now smoking, and he is off the track. Carl Edwards, engine problems in the Super Chips 99.
Unbelievable. Came in here 39 points out of the lead. Had gained 165 points in the previous 3 races. Going to end up finishing up probably in the 30s somewhere, so it's going to take a big hit in the point standings.
Look at his frustration inside the cockpit right there as he clears the smoke and tries to find a place to park. I mean, just total frustration. Wendy, you got a word with? Can't wait at all.
Looks like he lost a little bit of momentum there. Look at Shane. Pulls right up behind him, but Todd's using the 88 truck of Tracy Hines as a pick.
Nose to tail, Todd Bodine in front
Tracy
of Shane
Hines
Meal.
almost gets into the quarter panel. Shane Meal right there. You saw Tracy get loose.
This time by the grandstand, 2 laps to go.
Shane Meal is trying everything he can think of to try to get by Todd Bodine. He's tried him on the inside. He's tried him on the outside. Not quite able to complete the pass.
We saw David Rudiman's hand up in the air. That's the professional thing to do. As you see Todd making his truck still real wide coming out. Turn up 2. David is saying, go ahead and get me on the outside, guys. I know you're the leaders coming. I'm going to give you plenty of room.
Down to the bottom of the track through 3 and 4. Shane Meal
make
right up
contact.
behind the 30 of Todd Bodine. He loosens him up, and as he comes out of turn number 4, Shane Meal takes over the top spot.
A little bump and run. We've seen it happen many times before. What a great job by Shane Meal.
That's textbook right there. That's how you do it. Just a little contact, make them get loose, turns underneath them, and makes the pass.
The final lap, Shane Meal looking for his first ever win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Todd Bodine falling back away from him, and it looks as though the Whitaker Farms number 15 of Shane Meal may claim its first win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
He drove up right up behind Todd Bodine, got him a little bit loose, bumped him, and here he goes.
Coming out of turn number 4, Shane Meal will win the Las Vegas 350.
Richie Waters a pretty happy guy right now. He told me earlier today, he said, we keep running like we have, and I think we're going to eventually get one of these things. There's Todd Bodine. I'm sure he's probably not real happy with how Shane Meal was able to make that pass, but Shane was so much faster than Todd was, and he got it right behind him, right in the corner, got him a little bit loose, had to probably get Todd off the throttle and bumped him a little bit. There's Don Arnold, one of the owners of Todd's truck. Got to be pretty happy with that second place run.
A career best run for Todd Bodine. His best coming into this was a 4th. Shane Meal twice this year has been 2nd in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series races. His patience has paid off as he claims his first win in his 19th start in the truck.
You know, this is a big deal for Shane. It puts a lot of closure to what happened to him at the end of last year. He's penalized by NASCAR. Went through some troubling times, was actually disciplined, out of racing for a short period of time, went through some rehab. He did a really good job of meeting what some criteria NASCAR says. It really put some closure on that. It shows that Shane Meal's back and it means business.
Celebration for Shane Meal as he claims his first ever win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The pass for the win by Todd Bodine. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman. Moments ago, Shane Meal celebrating his first ever Truck Series win with
the helmet toss.
A souvenir to the fans. He throws his helmet over the catch fence, and one lucky fan sprints down, and that is a valuable souvenir he just gave up.
I'd say being happy is an understatement, wouldn't you?
I think this was a long time in the coming. Let's go down now to victory lane.
Meal getting ready to climb out his truck. He thoroughly enjoyed those victory donuts on the front stretch. His crew is not even in victory lane. They were in the first pit stall. So a long trek for your crew. They're not even here in victory lane yet.
They need to be here. I can't believe I won a race. I mean,
those fresh tires.
Never get them, man. My fresh tires, my pit crew, my engine. Some lucky fan has got my first win helmet, so I hope they like that, because I've worked my butt off from where I was a year ago, and everybody that stuck behind me, and there's more wins to come. I mean, we should have won 5 or 6 this year, and we won one, thank goodness. I want to thank everybody, Whitaker Farm, Billy Blue, everybody. I mean, great truck.
I know after all those second place finishes, it's got to feel great to finally get one. Tell us about that bump and getting around Todd Bodine.
Well, he was a little better than me, kinda, when I got behind him, and you know, I had to bump him to win, and he wasn't pissed. I'm surely not, and I won the race. That's all I can say.
All right, Shane Meal, he actually complained about that engine at one point during the race, and then at the end, he thought that DE power was getting it done as his crew finally in victory lane to celebrate with him, pouring water all over him. Shane Meal, his first victory ever in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, Ray?
Cars of the Rolex Sports Car Series take to the historic track at Virginia International Raceway. Tough 17-turn, 3.27-mile road course will test the drivers as they battle race 10 of their 12-race season. Points race is heating up. Max Pappas and Scott Pruitt share the lead heading into the VIR 400. Caution is out. Brandon Witt in the 38. Smoke coming out of that truck.
A tough break for Brandon Witt. That will bring out the caution flag. We're getting reports that the 5 truck of Mike Skinner is also smoking. One of the very best trucks we had go in. Oh, he's made some contact with a wall or another vehicle. Look at the right front tire, the way it's turned out there.
Big
That's
damage.
some pretty serious damage right there from Mike Skinner. You can see the whole side of his truck is flat, but he might have gotten the oil from Brandon Witt.
Mike Skinner was on a rail around this track. Let's take a look at how this damage took place for Mike Skinner.
There's Mike right on the bottom of the racetrack. We'll see if we see any smoke from yeah, you see him get sideways in the oil from the 38 of Brandon Witt. He had to chase the truck up the hill, ran out of racetrack, made contact with the safer barriers. What a tough break. That's one of the bad breaks as we're going to get another look at it right here. There's the 38. There's all the smoke from the 38. You see Mike Skinner, the 5 truck, get in that oil. Nothing he could do. Absolutely nothing he can do. And that's one of the disadvantages to going to the back because you're around a lot of vehicles. This happened while we were in commercial break. Todd Bodine makes a power move to the inside of the 17 of David Ruderman and goes to the lead.
Todd Bodine, as the first caution comes out, is our new leader. After 9 laps of racing, Todd Bodine claims the top spot.
Welcome back to California Speedway. Travis Quappo in his Line X Toyota was just in the pit area here. He does not have power steering, so they decided if we have a long yellow here, they wanted to come in to see if they could find out what the problem was. I just ran down to the pits here. I'll get you an update in a second. There is smoke coming out of the back of that truck. Remember, all that money on the line tonight if he was able to get to the front and win from the pole, but it looks like they've still got trouble, so Travis will be back to the pits here in a second.
Yeah, he's going to be following a lot of trucks that are on pit road right now having service done. The Square D Dodge number 4 comes in for service, and it doesn't look like they're going to make any tire adjustments.
Making a little bit of a track bar adjustment there. They raised the track bar a little bit. I think that means Bobby's truck was a little bit too tight, and they may have taken a little bit of tape off the front of the truck because they were working around there. His truck may have been overheating just a little bit.
Travis Quappo back down pit road in the Line X Toyota. Ray?
Well, what these guys are doing, they have a leak on the power steering pump. They were afraid that the belt had come off, but it's not. It's there and it's functioning, but one of the lines is loose or they have a leak from some kind. So the hood will come back up. They'll go back under it here. The engine shuts off for Travis here. They'll put the hood up on this truck and see if they're able to find out where that fluid is coming from. They'll go to work. All the guys go in here, and now let's check back in with Wendy.
Mike Skinner truck sits behind the wall early in the race. Mike, you had qualified up front. We know you had to start in the back because of that engine change. Working your way through the pack, it looked like you got caught up in some oil back there and back deep in the field.
This thing was hauling the mail, I'll tell you. It was awfully good. Wendy, apparently a guy up in front of us lost a motor and oiled the racetrack down, and it's just like you're on ice at that point in time. You're just along for the ride, but our little number 5 Tundra was really going, and we were just sitting there riding. I was like, man, this thing is so much fun to drive, and the motor is so strong. Just like, seems like when we get a truck that just no way we can lose the race with, something bad happens. But you know what? We run like this long enough, we'll get us one.
A short-lived night for Mike Skinner, but the team's working hard at it, and they'll get it back on the track.
Mike Skinner had mentioned that someone in front of him had blown a motor. Well, it was the 38 of Brandon Witt that had problems in front of him, and that's the problems that you have when you start in the back of the field. Caution number 1 out on the track. We'll be back with more racing after this.
David's really good at this racetrack. He's got 2 top 5 finishes out of his last 3 starts here, so he knows how to get around this racetrack. Here we go. We do have the caution now for debris, and I'm sure it's from the Bill Lester 22 Toyota.
So our second caution comes out on lap 28.
That'll be a big break for Travis Quappo. He is the first non-lead lap truck scored, so he will get the. Oh, we got trouble here. There's Eric Jones, the 74 truck.
And he was running so well.
He sure was. He was racing with Bobby Hamilton and Chad Chaffin. Not sure exactly what happened, but a lot of smoke out of that truck. But what I was saying was that Travis Quappo will get the free pass. He will be put back on the lead lap here. So big break for Travis Quappo.
That flag being shown was the pits are still closed as Bill Lester continues his trek down pit road now as he will try to make it to his pit stall. He is the reason for this most recent caution, the second one of the night coming out. First one was for Brandon Witt in the 38, and when Brandon Witt had problems, that made problems for the 5 of Mike Skinner, and so Mike Skinner behind the wall right now one of the toughest trucks in practice yesterday, not on the racetrack right now. They make some adjustments to the 22, and Bill must have known coming out of turn 4 that he was losing that right rear because he had slowed way down when he went across the start finish line.
You know, he might have lost a lot of time, and he did lose a lot of time, but we've seen tires, flat tires, do so much damage to the bodies of these trucks. He slowed way down, probably slower than he even dreamed he would have to, but he kept the quarter panel on that truck by doing that. Pretty smart move.
Well, how important is aerodynamics at a 2-mile track like California?
Probably no more important here than anywhere else that we race, other than maybe the possible exception of Daytona. Again, when we talked about running 185 or 190 miles an hour at the end of the straightaways, that's a pretty aerodynamic track. Todd Bodine, about 8 or 10 truck lengths.
That's twice now we've seen either Shane Meal or Todd Bodine get real loose on the bottom of the track. It looks like they're having troubles keeping it down to the white line.
Yeah, they're about halfway into this run right here on tires and fuel. So their trucks right now, they're doing the best they can. Look at Todd move to the bottom of the racetrack.
And he moves
Shane's
fast.
into the wall.
Shane Meal looks as though he blew a tire and gets into the wall. And so Shane Meal, our leader, now drops out of this race. Caution flag flies. That's the 3rd one of the night. And it's for our leader, Shane Meal.
We saw Todd just shoot by on the inside from his onboard camera. What a tough break for Shane Meal.
That caution coming out just past the halfway point. Lap 55, and Shane Meal devastated. This is a brand new truck. He ran this truck, and he had to have blown a tire,
Yeah,
Phil.
sure did. He cut down a tire. It didn't look like it really exploded because he would have went into the wall a lot faster and harder than that. But it was hard enough, and I'm sure it's going to probably put a premature end to his day. We saw the sparks early on from the very time they restarted the race. They were a little bit worse that time. Not sure if maybe something was rubbing and something got against the tire maybe and rubbed a hole in the tire. But unfortunately, it's going to take any chance of his winning this race out of him.
He's moving along really quick right now, and you see that right front coming apart. Pieces of it being distributed on pit road now as he makes his way to his pits. And possibly Shane Meal will be able to get this fixed and get back out onto the track and continue racing.
See if we can take another look. Watch the sparks at the very right front of the truck. We see him awfully bad right there. That's worse than they've been the entire time, so it makes you think that the tire had gone down by the time he got to that corner anyway. We don't know if something was rubbing that tire or maybe just ran over something and cut it, but he did go behind the wall right straight to the garage area.
Todd Bodine takes over by default now. The top spot, Ted Musgrave moves into striking condition in second.
Another pit stop. They've got fresh tires on, good to go to the end.
37 laps remain. Ted Musgrave, can he hold on for 4 in a row? He'll be the only one to ever win 4.
Oh, got a spin right there.
Oh, and it catches up Tracy Hines. That's the 67 of J.R. Patton.
Tough break. Had such a good run at Las Vegas in his first ever Truck Series race. Finished 15th. Lost control on this restart. Spun down in front of Tracy Hines. Tracy had absolutely nowhere to go. Tracy's a little bit upset right now that the 67 spun down in front of him. A lot of damage to the Menard Chevrolet. Let's take a look at what happened, Rick.
This is on the most recent restart.
He was right at the tail end of that pack right there, right behind Andy Houston. It looked like got sideways, almost corrected it. Unfortunately, slid right down in front of Tracy Hines.
Tracy Hines, wrong place, wrong time.
Saw him lock up the brakes, but it was too late.
Could be terminal damage for the 88 of Tracy Hines. J.R. Patton comes in to work on that truck as well. We're under caution number 4.
And it looks like maybe victory number 1.
Coming through 3 and 4. Smoke problems in front of them. And Todd Bodine and Ted Musgrave both miss Kelly Sutton. And it will be Todd Bodine claiming his first ever victory in the Truck Series.
.49 of a second is the margin between first and second. But the first big win for Todd Bodine.
Kelly Sutton hitting the wall hard just in front of the leader. As they came out of turn 4, Kelly Sutton had problems on the front stretch, and both trucks were able to get by on the high side, and Todd Bodine claims the top spot. Ray, who have you got?
Oh, I'm with Don Arnold, and he just asked me, did I see that? Did you see what just about happened?
I couldn't stood it. My heart's in my throat. It's just a thrilling win.
4 races in the Craftsman Truck Series, and you guys are at victory lane. Can you believe that's possible?
What do we do next? I'm just thrilled for everybody. We had a bad pit stop. We came back from 10th. We just did a great job. I got to give it to Todd and Mike and all the Toyota power, and they've just been great.
Congratulations, you're a winner in NASCAR, buddy.
Thank you. That's a great feeling.
That is Don Arnold, the owner for Todd Bodine. These guys are going to victory lane.
Todd Bodine brings the Jermaine Arnold Toyota number 30. Brings it to a stop just in front of the start-finish line, and now he will celebrate. He's done this before on this track. Again, claiming the victory in 1997 in a Busch race. The first ever Busch race at California Speedway, as it was built in 1990 or opened in 1997. Todd Bodine enjoying the moment, the crowd on their feet, and what a thrilling last lap. Coming out of turn number 4, you see Kelly Sutton having problems just in front of the 30 and the 1, and she moves up oh so close to Ted Musgrave. And as they cross the start-finish line, 49/1000ths of a second separate Todd Bodine and Ted Musgrave. We'll be back with more live on Speed Channel.
Of Jack's Brake's truck.
Just like on the freeway at 5 o'clock, you got to anticipate what's going on. We have a spin down to turns 3 and 4.
Problems buckling up down in 3 and 4. Terry Cook in the Power Stroke Diesel number 10 getting spun around. He gets it going again, and our first caution comes out of the day.
No contact with the wall. No contact.
Saw some damage to the left rear corner of Terry's truck.
It's got a flat left front right now.
Front tire. You see the balance dragging the racetrack. See if we can take a look at what happened to Terry Cook. See the 21 truck on the inside. Hank Parker Jr. makes some contact with Terry Cook. Terry tries to get to the bottom of the racetrack. Hank had his nose stuck up in there. There's the contact from Hank Parker Jr. Around he goes. Great job by Shane Meal avoiding Terry Cook as he spun around.
That is the most common form of an accident you'll see at Martinsville. That is the guy underneath has his nose up past the axle, and the car on the inside starts to turn down. And she sees Terry turning down right there in front of Hank Parker, and it just spins the guy out on the outside.
Tough trucks, tough racing in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And again, this is the final short track race of the season for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We'll be back with more green flag laps after this.
Loses a lap by having to make a drive-through penalty.
Oh, Steve Park getting into the back of Jack Sprague, and Sprague will spin around. Park gets into the back, but and John Wood gets collected up in that as well.
That was a payback. It looked like maybe the 16 and the 62 made contact at the other end of the racetrack. They got down in this corner. Steve said, hey, I didn't like that. I'm going to let you know I didn't like it. And he hit Jack hard enough to turn him around. Then the unfortunate part is it also got the 50 truck involved.
You know, this is one of the racetracks where you really have to keep your tempers checked. You got to check them in the closet before the race starts. It's really easy. You make so much incidental contact during the race that you have to be careful, and just there's the contact that happened the first time, and Steve Park said, I really didn't appreciate it. Driving down into the corner, he gets set, so we'll probably call this maybe a little bit of payback.
Well, obviously something had happened that Jack Sprague did to Steve Park, because Steve Park was banging on the door of Jack Sprague coming down the straightaway, and then got in behind him to spin him around in the corner.
Another view of it right there. There's the contact. Around goes Jack. And here comes the 50 truck. John Wood, an innocent bystander, is going to make some contact right there with Jack Sprague.
Sprague also backed into the 18 of Chad Chaffin. So a few trucks involved in this, the third caution of the day at Martinsville. Speed Channel. We're under caution number 3. And the reason for that is because had a little rough driving going on.
We saw the 16 and the 62 make some contact. Here the 16's on the inside. He runs into the side of Steve a little bit. Then Steve got sideways, then made some more contact. Then they go down to the next corner. Steve did not appreciate the contact. He's going to make some contact with Jack Sprague. Here comes John Wood, innocent bystander, makes some contact. Looks like there's not a great deal of damage to John Wood's truck, so it may not have really hurt his effort.
You know, and Steve ends up getting a 1-lap penalty out of this. What we don't know is there any contact that happened before we saw that makes Steve a little bit more upset, but you've got to check your attitudes before this race starts, because this is a common element of today's race.
2 of Steve Park did come in for that 1-lap penalty. We have a spin in turn 4.
It is Steve Park in turn 4 getting spun around. And so Park sits while the field goes by before he can turn his truck around.
I hate to say it, but Park is parked.
I'm glad you hated to say that.
Oh, you know what it's going to do? He couldn't get turned around. He's going to go down another lap right there.
There's truck owner Brendan Gaughan right there. He's got so much damage to the right front corner. You see part of the sheet metal underneath the right front tire. That's why he couldn't get his truck turned around as quickly as he would have liked.
10-4's got the right front pretty good.
Damage continues on the Orleans Dodge, number 62 of Steve Park. And so Steve Park spins around in turn 4. We'll be back after this.
You know, we talked about Bobby being a little defensive. That right there wasn't defensive. He's really on a move at that time. And that's a textbook pass right here. And we have a spin.
Problem
Chase Montgomery down turns 1 and 2.
Right in the center of turns 1 and 2. He gets spun around and has some damage to the back of that truck. Significant damage.
Yeah, flat left rear tire. Obviously, the tire is almost off the wheel. Chase was running pretty well early. Looks like he might have just had a flat left rear tire. I'm sorry.
So Philly was probably trying to get into the pits. He was slow, running on the high side. The tire started to come off the rim and got jammed in between the wheel and the body.
He made some contact with the soft walls. Now, we call them soft walls. They're still pretty hard, but
they're very hard.
But they sure do minimize the impact that a driver feels, and a truck for that matter.
A lot of damage to the 8 truck. There was also a lot of damage to the 62 truck that they've been working on. We saw earlier team owner, partial team owner and Nextel Cup driver Brendan Gaughan working on that truck. He's standing by with Wendy Norris.
Steve Park first got a 1-lap penalty for rough driving. Then when he came down pit road after that spin in turn 4, he was held black flag for crossing the stop sign at the end of pit road. Brendan, how frustrating is this for you and your team and Steve?
Well, Jimmy Smith's still always hitting me. You know, I mean, the 2 dumped us. They're claiming we dumped the 16, so, you know, they need to be fair about that and do the same thing. They need to penalize 2, but Orleans Dodge just had some rough luck with Park, man. He's a hell of a race car driver, and we're only, I think, 2 laps down or 3 laps down, and I'll tell you what, he's going to beat and bang to get back on the lead lap because he's good enough and we got a top 5 Dodge today.
Brendan Gaughan never at a loss for words. Rick?
Well, Brendan Gaughan maybe still frustrated from almost a year ago at Homestead when one of Jimmy Smith's trucks, and it was not predetermined, but it was just an accident that took Brendan Gaughan out of contention for the championship, and that was at the final race of the season. So disappointed truck owner Brendan Gaughan.
Here's what Brendan was talking about with Jamie McMurray in the 2 truck when Brendan got spun. And the penalty wasn't reciprocal to the 2 truck. Right here we see the Jamie driving in and getting in the back of Brendan and spinning him out. Spinning Steve Park out. Brendan expected a penalty from NASCAR on Jimmy Smith's 2 truck, which did not happen. So it is a lot of frustrating things go on, especially at a tight racetrack. And Martinsville is the smallest racetrack that NASCAR races on.
Better and better.
Out of necessity, it'll have to.
Another black flag being shown. Oh, and problems for David Starr in the 75, as well as Mike Skinner. I believe
Mike had such a good truck, too.
The luck continues to be bad for Mike Skinner.
He said before the race that he's had great trucks each and every week, cannot get any good luck. A lot of damage to the 75 truck. Look at all the damage to the right side and the rear of that Spears Chevrolet.
Here's a replay of what just happened with Skinner and David Starr.
David drives, almost looks like David ran out of brakes or something like that, Chad, didn't it?
It looked to me like the right front was either locked up or he had a brake problem because the smoke started well before the corner. Mike Skinner was a victim, just sitting out there, had nothing to do with it.
He's on the inside of Johnny Benson, and he just drives down the go. You see the smoke. It's almost looks like he didn't even hit the brakes. Makes hard contact with Mike Skinner, puts him in the outside wall, and then David backs into the outside wall. A lot of damage to both of those trucks.
We'll have to follow up and see if there was a brake problem, because that is what it looked like, that he just didn't have any brakes as he went down into that corner.
We talked earlier about Steve Park's brake ducts hanging down. Well, that's what a brake duct looks like. I think that came off of Mike Skinner's truck as he made his way around the racetrack after contact with the outside wall. We've got Bobby Hamilton, our point leader, on pit road.
Hamilton 4.
Square D Dodge making his way to the first pit stall, which will be around the turn 1 and 2 corner. It's almost at the exit of pit road, and so he'll have to maintain 30 miles an hour until he gets to his pit stall, and he'll come in and have service on the Square D Dodge. Ray?
Well, Rick, pretty much the same thing as Dennis Setzer had said earlier. He said, we think we may go for a long green here, so let's work on this thing. You'll notice there is some damage to the left rear fender there, so they want to try to work on that. 4 tires for Bobby. Having this very first pit stall on the end of pit road can be an advantage because it allows you just a little bit extra time to work on it. But they get him back to the track right now, wondering if he'll pit one more time for repairs on that fender.
Yeah, Ray, I mean, Ray's exactly right. That is an advantage, having to pick the first pit stall. That is the preferred spot to pick. And we also noticed Bobby didn't do any chassis adjustments, so his truck must be handling perfectly. These guys assigned pits by how they qualify, which is rained out, so they did it by points. He picked the very first stall.
David Starr having troubles with his 75 Spears Manufacturing Chevrolet, brought it behind the wall. They work on that, and the reason for all of that damage. Didn't look like he could slow it down. Mike Skinner being caught up. We'll be back with more racing in Martinsville. Only on Speed Channel. Ray standing by with David Starr.
Well, Rick, it appears that it was the right front brake caliper locked up here on the Spears Chevrolet. It was not a hung throttle. I looked over the carburetor there and also the air cleaner, no problem there, but it just appears that it was the right front brake. They are going to replace the caliper here and the rotor. And, you know, really, there's a lot of cosmetic damage to this truck, but it doesn't look like any problem to the steering components or anything like that. So they are doing some cosmetic repair, getting the bed taped down and everything, going to get some new tires on this thing, try to get back in this race.
And the reason for all of this damage.
See the 75 drive down the corner. You see some smoke. It looked like the right front wheel locked up, and that may have been because of the bad caliper. And he made hard contact with Mike Skinner. Just turns Mike right into the outside wall. What a tough break for Mike Skinner. He had such a good truck. He was the fastest truck in the morning practice yesterday before their happy hour. And unfortunately, he's going to have a lot of damage.
You know, Phil, that's about as hard as hit as you'll see at Martinsville, too, right there with Skinner, and he didn't even know it was coming.
There are 4 trucks that have not come into pit.
It's a little payback. It's a little reminder. Oh, we have a wreck with Rick Crawford down in turns 1 and 2. He spun out, was up against the outside wall. Looks like his left front tire is flat. And the camber on the right front is way out of kilter right now. So he's got some good damage on that truck.
A lot of damage to Rick Crawford's number 14, so it doesn't look like the supermarket sweep.
And we don't have a caution. That is why Rick was wondering where in the world is the caution, but we don't have a caution flag out yet.
This is for the lead right here. Matt Craftsman on the inside of Ted Musgrave.
I'm sure Ted Musgrave slowed down because he saw the wounded truck of Rick Crawford. Matt Craftsman almost took advantage of that, drove to the inside, was not quite able to make the pass for the lead.
You can't assume that a caution's going to come out. It all depends on whether there's debris on the track, whether there's a harm to the driver or the crews, and obviously NASCAR felt there wasn't a need for caution right there.
Dennis Setzer trying to reel in the top 3. Dennis Setzer with fresh tires. He's pitted most recently. Ray.
Damage on the front of Rick Crawford's truck. You see the right front fender certainly with damage. Left front tire flat. These guys will go to work. Work on the left side here first to get that front tire off. The guys do. Tim Sanders changes the front. Jason Romsberg's on the rear. They put left side tires on it. but Crawford does not leave. They wanted to get that fender on the right side better. So Gator Morris, the jackman, he hammers on that thing as hard as he can, trying to beat that right front fender down. Left side tires on it only. Crawford on his way back to the racetrack.
Dennis Setzer was able to pass the 99 to gain another position. He's up in the third. Let's see if we can see what happened to Rick Crawford. Here the trucks drive down in turn number 1. That's the 29 truck on the inside, makes contact with Rick Crawford. Deborah Renshaw turns Rick around, going in the corner. See the flat left front tire right there.
That's the separation between laps. Ray?
Well, they do have a radiator ready to go here, guys, in the pit. They also have the quick cool down unit ready to go. The hood comes up here on the Square D Dodge, and yes, they have determined that they are going to have to change the radiator. So this is going to be many, many laps. 07 is in the wall right in front of Hamilton's pit here in the center of turns 1 and 2. So this may help a little bit as we slow down under caution. When they go under caution, of course, takes a lot longer time. If they'd have stayed under green here for Hamilton, to change this radiator would have been devastating. Not that this is going to be good, but a caution will help.
Unfortunately, all he had was a flat tire in the spring, and he finished 31st. So Bobby Hamilton, as long as it's going to take to change the radiator, is going to be relegated to a finish somewhere again, more than likely, in the 30s. That's just what his other competitors, the other 3 in his championship battle, were wanting to see happen. Not that they wanted any bad luck, but they were hoping somehow to get back in his championship hunt, and this is going to do it.
And let me point out, the other 3 in that championship chase are running extremely well. All 3 of them are in the top 5 right now, so this could be a big swing in the points. See how long it takes them to work their way back up to the front.
Oh, Kelly Sutton gets spun around, and right behind her was the 46 of Dennis Setzer. I think he made it through. We see David Rudiman having problems.
As the 18 of Chad Chaffin on the inside.
I know Dennis Setzer was right beside Kelly Sutton when she got sideways.
Ted Musgrave was very, very close to that accident, along with Dennis Setzer.
The 21 of Hank Parker Jr. also involved, and serious damage to the front of that truck.
And he was running real. Here's a replay of what just happened.
See the 02 truck of Kelly Sutton on the outside. That's Dennis on the inside. They make a little contact. He's clear of it. Charlie Bradbury makes some contact. You see Musgrave, he got in the back of Charlie Bradbury, and all these other trucks came along with nowhere to go.
Started down in the middle of the turn, actually, with Kelly getting turned sideways.
Bobby Jr. barely gets by in the 59 truck. Ted Musgrave gets in the back of Charlie Bradbury. We need to take a look at the front end of Ted Musgrave's truck to see how much damage he may have.
Let's take a look from the onboard camera of David Rudiman. This is coming out of turn number 4. You can just see, Phil talked about at the start of the race, this is a chain reaction. When you're running this close together, the guy 4 or 5 back, there's nothing he can do.
See Bradbury, the 78, gets in the back of Kelly. Right there, you see the quarter panel bow up. The 59 goes by, Bobby Jr. 99, Carl Edwards barely gets by. Now then they start spinning. Hank makes hard contact. David Rudiman, no place to go. Chad Chaffin, no place to go. Ted Musgrave gets by on the outside, but only after making contact with the 78 of Charlie Bradbury. Let's see if we can take a look at Ted Musgrave's truck to see if there's any damage. You see where it poked the grill in a little bit. I don't think it got back to the radiator. That's the critical part. If it didn't get in the radiator, I think he's going to be okay.
And as he narrowly avoided radiator damage, Bobby Hamilton has been on pit road replacing his radiator while all this took place. We'll be back with more.
Thank you, Rick. Lots of work going on down here on the Airvest Toyota. Is this truck fixable? Can you get back in?
We might be able to. It's hard to say right now. The radiator's pushed back to the oil filter, and that's never good, man. We had a great Airvest Toyota Tundra. Be able to run up there in the top 5, you know, track position was so important, and my truck was just getting better the longer that we ran. And I was dreading seeing that caution come out, but I knew we'd have to go back to the back of all that, and just got caught up and looked like some lap cars had it all tangled up and nowhere to go.
Well, that's for sure. And you see there's the 21. Now look right over here, guys, is the 02 Kelly Sutton's Capaxon Chevrolet. All kinds of damage here. Also the radiator knocked in on that. And as you said, Phil, just to our right a little bit, Here's the NTN Bearings Toyota. David Rudeman comes to the garage to fix his radiator also. Wendy?
Bobby Hamilton, more problems for Bobby Hamilton. Looks like he has a flat right front tire as he makes his way to pit road.
Bobby Hamilton had made his way up to 26th position.
That will cost him another position. Shane Meal, who was on the same lap with Bobby Hamilton, is able to get by him, so Bobby will lose another position.
Body damage on the 14, rubbing against the right front tire. Smoke coming out there, so they'll probably have to come down and fix that before he blows the right front tire.
Yeah, or NASCAR will throw him the black flag. That's rubbing a little too hard.
Rick's right now 3 laps down. That's our 3rd place truck right behind him. Jimmy McMurray, the 2 truck.
Great shot right there. You can see the abuse that the brakes are getting. And we documented from his wreck earlier, he probably is not getting the airflow to him that he needs to.
Got a great battle for 3rd right there. There's Jamie McMurray, Bobby Labonte right behind him. There's the battle for the leads tightening up, Rick.
Travis Quapple in the 24, Jack Sprague in the 16, Ray.
Bobby Hamilton put on right side tires, had a fender rub on the right side, and so he did come to pit road. Now, guys, you got a monitor there. Tell me who he's running with, and is there any more positions he can gain in this race?
Well, it looks as though Bobby Hamilton, his closest competitor that he could gain positions on would be Shane Meal, but with Shane Meal on the track 2 laps in front of him, it'll be very difficult unless problems happen for Shane Meal.
Yeah, Bobby's going to finish in the 27th position.
From about 5 or 6 truck lengths back to all over the back of Quapple. We see a little contact right there.
A lot
He's
of
not
contact.
done yet. Spins him around, and they're both wrecked into the wall.
Into the wall.
Unbelievable.
First and second, Jack Sprague, Travis Quapple. Quapple backing down
You know,
the
we
backstretch.
talked about keeping a cool head, and that to me right there is that was nothing but someone just not wanting to be patient. He was all over Quapple, and he decided now's my chance to make contact. They got hooked, and they're both in the wall.
I went under him.
Chad, we got 27 laps to go. That wasn't that necessary to make that move the way he did. He got underneath him, got into him, didn't turn him loose.
Not when your truck is as good as Sprague's was. I mean, a little contact.
Let's take a look at what happened here. You see Travis leads down going into turn number 1. There's Jack on the inside, right behind him. Travis slid the left front tire a little bit. Jack makes some contact, makes some more contact, gets him completely sideways, make more contact.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, that doesn't look like something Sprague would do at this point in the race. I wouldn't be surprised if he's having some brake problems right there. Pedal went down to the floor, and he couldn't get the thing slowed down.
Well, you don't hit the brakes off the quarter, Jack.
I'm trying to give him a little benefit of the doubt here.
Well, and we could hear the engine revving on Travis Quapple. He did an incredible job trying to save this right here. He hits the accelerator, but there's nothing he can do when the right rear tire was completely off the wheel.
And the problem was Jack was right there in the inside. He started going forward, but then he ran into Jack's truck, and that turned him back into the outside wall. There's Jack Sprague behind the wall with some heavy damage to the right side of his truck. That's going to let Jamie McMurray inherit the lead, and Dennis Setzer is in second.
Jamie McMurray looking for his first victory in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, driving the Team ASE CarQuest Dodge number 2. And there are enough laps left that if these 2 trucks don't come back out onto the track, which I would imagine at least Travis Quapple will be able to come back out, but if these 2 trucks wouldn't come back, Bobby Hamilton would get those positions.
Yeah, that would be 6 more points for Bobby Hamilton. But those 2 trucks right there, when Dennis Setzer went by him, that was 10 points. You get more points at the top. Wendy.
Travis Quapple pulled it into the Cup garage. They got the radiator, the brakes. They decided just to pull it behind the wall and pull the crash cart out. They'll start making repairs as best as they can to get back out there. Let's go to Ray.
Well, Wendy, over here for Jack Sprague's number 16 Chevy, they're done for the day. The right side, so much damage. A bunch of crew guys from the 46, of course, ran over here to see if they could help, but the day is definitely done with only 25 laps to go. No way that they'll get any of that done. Jack, what happened out there on the racetrack? Looked like you got a good run on the 24.
Well, you know, it's a shame for both of us. I mean, it's short track racing, but he went into one, he smoked the tires, front tires with the brakes. Pushed up, I got under him. Probably didn't know I was there. He came back down, we got together, and we couldn't get apart. We hooked up and couldn't get apart, but Chevy truck Silverado was pretty good. We got took out early, went to the back, worked our way back to the front, and had 25 laps to go. Just maybe I shouldn't have stuck it in there, but heck, it my only chance to get the lead, I think, or that first chance I had, and I'm sure he didn't know I was there. I mean, it's just one of them deals. I hate it for both of us.
Well, these guys went to victory lane at Mansfield, of course, in the number 16, but it's been 17 races, so Jack Sprague was trying pretty hard. Wendy?
Travis Quapple sits in his truck. Travis, we heard your crew chief, Eric Phillips, very angry on the radio. He's expecting NASCAR to do something. What was it from your point of view?
Well, he should be. I don't know. We had a great truck. We got caught up in a little bit of traffic. Sprague was coming. I don't know if he'd ever been able to get by me if he didn't run me over. But I got held up in some traffic. It's the only reason he caught me. But I don't know. I guess he thought he just turned me around. Did
you slide the brakes at all?
I got in the corner a little hot. I was up the racetrack just a little bit, and he must have thought there was enough hole there, and he got it in my left rear. And as soon as he got my left rear, cut the tire down. So unfortunate for this Linex team. We had a great truck today.
Unlike Jack Sprague, Travis Quapple's team is working on it. They are going to try and get back out there because he is still was only 10 points behind for that 7th place points position of David Starr going into this race. Rick?
Thanks, Wendy. We're going to look at this again.
Well, here they are right here going down the straightaway, and you heard Sprague say that maybe he got in and smoked the tires. We don't see any smoke, but he did move up a half a truck length, and then Jack got in the back of him, and they couldn't get apart.
What happened when Jack got beside him after he made contact, he wasn't trying to keep into Travis. He was just trying to drive on by. When Travis jumped in the throttle to try to keep it out of the outside wall, that's when he made some contact with Jack Sprague. Jack wasn't continuing to stay against him. He was completely to the inside of him, and then Travis came down the hill a little bit as he was trying to straighten it out and make contact.
The 46 team we heard came over to try to help out Jack Sprague. That would mean 3 more points for Dennis Setzer if Sprague was able to stay on the track. 7 is 3rd, and that is a teammate to Dennis Setzer, so that can only help in problems in the backstretch. Terry Cook gets spun around and into the back of him. That is the 13 of Andy Houston.
Andy had such a great run going.
Ran over us and wrecked us.
That was his spotter for
Keith. That was Keith Barnwell, the spotter for Terry Cook. Felt that somebody had wrecked Terry, and that's what started the whole thing.
And you see the damage to the back of that truck. Obviously, someone got into the back of Terry, got him spun around. That was the smoke you saw from the tires spinning.
And this isn't hurting Jamie McMurray at all as he sits in the lead with just a few laps to go.
Take a look at this latest caution.
The 6 truck of Matt Crafton gets in the back of the 10 truck of Terry Cook, turns him around. Here comes Andy Houston, nowhere to go, smoke everywhere, runs in the back of Terry Cook. Tough break for both of those guys. They've had a great run going. Both of them were right knocking on the door of the top 10. Another look here. You see all the smoke. Drivers can see nothing. Bobby Hamilton Jr., the 59 truck, just trying to pick his way through there.
You really are helpless at that point because you can't see anything. Your spotter's telling you where to go, but really your spotter can't see anything at that point either.
Todd Bodine narrowly avoids Terry Cook as he gets by on the inside. Andy Houston, unfortunately, not quite so lucky.
Riding along with Johnny Benson. We'll take another look.
Johnny runs in the back of Robert Huffman.
Whoa.
Whoa. Was that Bill Davis?
Now that is spotting at its finest right there.
Just stop, Johnny. Stop.
Don't go high. Don't go low. Just whoa.
That's spotting, and that's from his car owner right there, Bill Davis. So he was spotting not only for concern, but also because he didn't want his truck tore up.
Inside of 15 laps to go right now. Jamie McMurray would love to see them spend about 10 more laps cleaning up this racetrack.
At least.
Because he knows Dennis Setzer has a great truck, but Jamie McMurray also has a good truck. So this could be a great battle right down to the wire.
The track crew continuing to clean up any debris that has been left on the track. And just so you're aware, once we get inside of 10 laps to go, we will go single file line. Wendy?
Terry Cook on that caution. The spotter for him is Keith Barnwell, his owner. He came over the radio and said, sorry, I was talking to Rick Corelli, the spotter on Matt Crafton's truck. So you take your eyes off for just 1 split second, and this is what can happen. The guys are on the right-hand side changing those tires. 4 tires and fuel is what they're going to do on the only right sides for Terry Cook. As he goes back out there, he was 7th when he wrecked.
Well, those were the 2 trucks involved, the 6 of Matt Crafton and the 10 of Terry Cook. they may have been talking after that incident.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't real friendly either.
Some communication going on. Ray?
That maybe Brandon Witt made some contact with a wall. Here's Brandon coming off turn number 2. Got close to the wall. It didn't look like he made any contact, though.
I didn't see any contact either, Phil. Just a little
move back.
a little contact right there.
A little more contact. Looked like Hank got in the back of the 17 of David Ruderman.
Here goes Chad Blunt in the number 2, the Team ASE CarQuest number 2 across the infield, and he makes his way out in front of the track. Allen contact. That's the 03 of Denny Hamlin. Bumped into the 2 of Chad Blunt. Blunt trying to keep the truck going.
I think this was probably a result of the contact that Hank Parker Jr. made with David Ruderman. It seized the entire field up. It's a chain reaction situation, and Chad Blunt unfortunately got the worst of it.
He did a good job of keeping his steering wheel turned to the left there as he spun out through the grass, or it would have snapped back to the right even harder.
And there goes the tire, and that's going to continue to make more damage on that Team ASE CarQuest Dodge.
He had a great run going too. It's unfortunate, but a lot of damage when the tire comes apart like that.
Let's look back at what may have started this chain reaction.
See Hank Jr., the 21 truck, middle of your screen. He makes some contact right there with David Ruderman, gets him sideways. Now that seizes up Hank. The 2 truck just got a little bit loose. He might have clipped the grass with his left side tires, and that got him a little bit loose. He was side by side with his teammate Ted Musgrave. Slid back to the outside of the racetrack and got a little bit of a shot there to the rear of the truck. There's another view of it. There's the contact that started this. Watch the 2 on the inside. He clips the grass. It turns him around.
Well, he was into the grass at the same time he made contact with his teammate, and it just lost traction.
And Musgrave had to come down because he saw Ruderman coming down, so there was no place for him to go, and there was no place for Chad Blunt to go.
Musgrave used him as a pick. There's one onboard sensor right here who had a great view of the accident that just happened. Hear him get out of the throttle.
You don't stay out of the throttle long because you want to get by the accident. This is Travis Quamble. You're going to see his view. He's going to have to do some avoiding right now. Right now his spotter's trying to tell him which way to go. Say, go high, go high.
NASCAR will blow the track off after Chad Blunt brought some dirt from that infield out onto the track, and so they'll blow the track off, and this is how it all took place for caution number 5. Chad Blunt bringing the truck back out onto the track as he took a ride across the infield. Carl Edwards. Big hit. That was Bill Lester, I believe, in the 22. Bill Lester hits hard. Travis Quapple goes down pit road. David Ruderman and Chad Chaffin also involved. Bill Lester's truck comes to a stop just in front of the grandstands.
David Ruderman made contact with the inside wall. There was nobody standing on pit road. I looked up, saw it. David Ruderman hit the inside pit wall. There was nobody standing there, as I don't think we'll have no injuries from the pit crewman.
Bill Lester's number 22 truck came sliding down in front of us, and I could see Bill Lester's hand, his right hand, moving as he was sliding down in front of us.
We've got serious damage on Bill Lester, David Ruderman's truck. Let's keep our fingers crossed for these drivers.
Bill Lester hit very hard. They were coming out of turn number 4. We just caught a glimpse of Bill Lester hitting the wall, as did the 17 of David Ruderman. Also involved was the 18 of Chad Chaffin.
The 67 of J.R. Patton is sitting on the infield grass just off of turn number 4.
Red flag has come out on the track, stopping all of the trucks in turn number 3. And so the safety crews are dealing with multiple trucks around the track. We will be back and give you an update on these drivers right after these messages. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. We're still under red flag conditions on this 1.5 mile, very fast speedway. Moments ago, Bill Lester was able to climb out of the 22 Toyota on his own power and walk to the ambulance. And so Very good news that Bill Lester okay with that very hard hit. J.R. Patton, they're dealing with that truck. He's been able to get out of his truck as well. One other driver, David Rudeman, still in the 17 NTN Toyota. And so the safety crews continue to deal with David Rudeman in that truck. We're under red flag conditions. The trucks have come to a stop in turn number 3. We'll allow the safety crews to keep working on this situation, and we'll be back to update you on David Rudeman's condition. Safety crews continue to work diligently on the 3 trucks that came to rest in front of the grandstands. David Rudeman's number 17 NTN Bearings Toyota now being put up on the record. David Rudeman was taken out of his truck. He was conscious and was put into the ambulance. They're taking him now to the infield care center. Again, J.R. Patton was able to get out of his truck and went to the ambulance under his own power, as did Bill Lester in the number 22 Toyota. And this is a testament to the safety equipment now on these vehicles as we take a look at what happened to bring out this red flag.
Look at this, the 22 truck right there gets loose on the inside, Phil. Slides sideways and makes contact with Rudeman, sending him nowhere but to the outside wall.
Yeah, Chad, as Rick mentioned, the safety paraphernalia, the head and neck restraints these drivers have. There's another view of it. Watch, he pulls up on the inside, gets loose on the bottom of the racetrack. We've seen it happen so many times. He takes the front end of David Rudeman's truck. They both make hard contact with the safer walls. That's what's critical is that all these racetracks now are installing safer barriers. That's where they hit. That would help. All the head and neck restraint systems help. The headrests in the trucks help. I tell you, I would have hated to see what would have happened 5 years ago with impacts like these drivers take. Watch this real time there. See him, watch him turn dead right, 45-degree angle, and made hard contact with the outside wall.
And that is, no kidding, that's contacted probably 140 miles an hour into a concrete wall.
I was just going to say, Chad, you can't get a true feeling of how fast these vehicles are going around this track until you see something like this happen. This happened so fast. We had seen it before. Bill Lester got loose, went right up into David Rudeman, and there was nothing either driver could do.
I'll tell you, a number of these drivers, Shane Meal, the 15, the 18, as you saw sliding through the infield grass, did terrific jobs not to hit him. You see David make contact with the inside wall. He had no control over his truck, no brakes, no steering. There's Travis. Watch these trucks come off that wall. Travis goes down pit road to avoid the accident. Great job by a lot of these drivers not making this situation worse.
Red flag conditions continue. All of the trucks are parked in turn number 3, giving the safety crews enough room and time to do their jobs. Their fellow competitors make sure that they are okay, get them out of their vehicles, get them to the infield care center as quickly as possible.
Saw a shot of Robert Huffman's truck right there. He obviously got into part of that situation there. He had a lot of damage to the right side of his truck, so he was also involved, but he was able to stay going around the racetrack. That's why we didn't see him here at the accident site.
You know, what a testament, like you guys spoke of just a second ago, to the safety, because that right there is one of the hardest hits I've ever seen. I mean, when you're full throttle coming out of turn 4 and you hit the wall at a 30 to 45-degree angle, that is a hard, like, it's a head neck restraints, it's the safer wall, and we're hearing reports right now that they may have trouble with the safer walls because of that violent impact.
Well, they're going to have to fix it, is the situation, because what that is that styrofoam that's behind a steel wall, and that styrofoam is there to give so that when a truck does hit it, in the angle that it just hit it, that styrofoam gives instead of the driver or the truck giving.
And we could see where it gave. You could see obviously place in that wall where it gave, and it took a lot of the energy from that truck instead of transferring that energy from that wall to inside the truck. That wall took a lot of the energy, and that was what allowed Bill Lester to walk away from that truck, and hopefully David Rudeman be in the same situation.
Safety crews and track officials now looking over that situation, and you can see the bow in the wall right where contact was made, and you can see the tire marks where those were hit.
Look at look at the angle right here. This is what we're talking about. There's the skid marks and there's the wall. So it's that angle right there that the impact was made. That's a severe, severe angle.
Here's what Chad's talking about. That's what hurts so bad is the angle here. You see the angle that they hit that wall. You see David Ruderman and Bill Lester make such terrific contact with the outside wall because of the angle. That was probably the worst place to hit the wall because you're almost looking straight at the wall anyway. You see him, looks like a 45-degree angle that they're going to hit the wall, and that's the same kind of angle that you would hit when you blow a tire at that part of the racetrack. But it was just the way that Bill Lester made contact with David Ruderman. It sent both of them going into the wall at that angle, and that's when you get the real hard contact with the right front part of the vehicles.
More officials now on hand to take a look at that safer barrier. They will want to make sure that it is perfectly safe before we restart this race. In case something would happen where another accident would take place in that one area, they want to make sure that that wall is safe for another contact if it would happen.
Watching Bill Lester get out of that truck and walk to the ambulance. I mean, what a testament that is to NASCAR and all these racetracks. For you see them getting some new styrofoam. They're going to repair this wall here, but what a testament to what changes have been made in this sport over the last few years to try to avoid serious injuries. I raced for a number of years, 20 years. I never had any kind of head and neck restraint system. I do some testing nowadays, and I will not get in the vehicle without a head and neck restraint because it's been proven time and time again that your chances of surviving something like this without injuries are so much better. That's why NASCAR mandates every one of these drivers wear some sort of a head and neck restraint system. And Bill Lester, David Ruderman will thank NASCAR for that here today.
Taking care of the oil dry and different things going on with the track. We'll be back with more from Texas Motor Speedway. Sensors on the outside of that.
And Mike Skinner will make his way on pit road. He must have had a flat. Oh, trouble!
And banging. Tracy Hines gets sideways. Problems again on the front stretch. He's able to control it, and they stay out of the wall. Tracy Hines brings it to a stop on the inside of the track. The caution flag has come out once again.
What a horrible break for Mike Skinner. He just now is making his way onto pit road. Ray, what's going on?
Well, they're going to change that left rear tire, and that's the only one they need to change, so he should be able to get back out here ahead of him. He'll stay on the lead lap.
Great pit work by Mike Skinner's bunch to keep him on the lead lap. What a terrific break for him that the caution came out. You see him, he drives by the pace truck. That's not who dictates when he can come out. It's the leader of the race that dictates when he can pull back on the racetrack.
And that was very close, too. We were able to see it from up here in the booth. The stop and go person at the end of pit road would signal to him if he needed to stop and wait for the leader to go by as well as the other trucks, but he was able to get the green to go, and so he was able to go past the pace truck and stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, that stop sign, man, looks at a point at the outside wall. When the leader gets there, then he closes pit road. Obviously, Mike Skinner took off, got to the end of pit road before the leader got there, so he was allowed to pull right straight on the racetrack. Right?
Guys, I just want to give you an update about a crew member down here. Chad Rainey changes the rear tires for Mike Skinner. Now at California, he separated his right shoulder. The most unbelievable thing has happened down here today. Rainey has been changing the tires for these guys. It's complete dedication. A big ice bag in there for him to try to keep the pain away. But with a separated shoulder, this guy's been going over the wall, and he did that there to change the tires and keep Skinner on the lead lap.
Very tough performance by that pit crew member. Tracy Hines, the reason for our 8th caution of the day.
See him 3 wide there, big wad of trucks right there. You see Tracy come in late. Looks like the 8 truck of Chase Montgomery pulled right up in front of him. You see Mike Skinner. Now everyone's trying to avoid Mike Skinner. Everyone's moving up the hill to avoid Mike Skinner. Then there was a little bit of a chain reaction. Somebody pulls up on the inside. Looks like maybe Shane Meal pulls up on the inside of the 80 of Tracy Hines. He's Shane goes through the grass, bounces into Tracy Hines. That's what gets him sideways. That's what causes his problem.
Chase Montgomery involved in that.
Did a great job keeping that truck out of harm's way. He's end up spinning out, but he's on the bottom of the racetrack. All the other trucks up on the racetrack going by here without any problems. See, Shane Meal runs through the grass, runs into Tracy Hines. That gets him sideways. Eric Jones does a nice job avoiding him. He has to go through the grass to avoid him. Tracy does a good job keeping it off the racetrack.
3 wide. Rick Crawford getting a little loose. And here it is, real time.
Shane's wearing out the right front corner of that truck here. He's been on pit road. This guy's, I'm sure, making repairs to the right front corner. We saw that earlier when he got into Matt Craftsman. They had to do quite a few repairs to the right front corner of his truck.
Shane Meal coming off of the grass up onto the track, getting into the side of Tracy Hines, and that brings out caution number 8. Wendy?
The 23 and 75, just wanted to update you on both of those. Johnny Benson feels that his truck is hard to get through the corners in the dirty areas, along with Todd Bodine. Him and the 30 are struggling in dirty areas, sounds like with the talk on the radio. Also on the 75, Dave McCarty, the crew chief, came over and said, if those Toyotas start pulling away, they feel like they cannot catch up to him. So he reminded David Starr he's got to keep up with the 30 and the 23 in those Toyota trucks.
Shane Meals, you can see the damage on the right side of that truck as he has some work done on the trim spa Chevy.
We saw the damage to the right front corner early on with Matt Craftsman. Now you see damage all up and down the right side of that trim spa Chevrolet. He's beat the right side off that thing.
And Shane Meal was avoiding. He had to go into the infield to avoid contact, but that, as you mentioned, created a chain reaction where he couldn't hold it on the inside of the track, came out, hit Tracy Hines. Tracy Hines then spun, and that brought out our caution.
It really all started when Mike Skinner and then bounced off the windshield.
Unbelievable race today in Texas. We've seen a lot of trucks do that, and Chad Blunt gets sideways and gets into the inside wall, and a lot of damage to that Team ASE CarQuest Dodge.
It almost seems like every time we've seen 2 trucks go side by side, the truck on the inside loses air off that spoiler and gets turned around. We see a lot of the veterans not put themselves in that situation where they're going to lose the back end of the truck. They wait for a different part of the racetrack to try to make their pass. Unfortunately for Chad Blunt, he got loose on the inside, made contact, and they made hard contact with the inside wall.
Inside of 16 laps to go in this race, and our 9th caution of the day has come out. Window net down on the number 2 Dodge. We're looking at the side-by-side racing here of Mike Skinner and Travis Quampler. Right behind them, that's Chad Blunt getting sideways and making contact with the inside wall.
Denny Hamlin was the 03 truck on the outside. Here's another view of it. Look at the back of to the right of your screen. You see Chad Blunt. He gets loose. Same situation. Has to chase the truck up the hill. He makes contact with Denny Hamlin. Then it just sends him towards the inside wall. Nothing he could do about it at this point but make hard contact with the inside wall. Watch from the back. You see him get a little bit loose. Now he tries to correct it. When he does, he goes up the hill. He hits Denny Hamlin. Then it just sends him straight into the inside wall. Not a great deal of room on the backstretch between the outside wall and the inside wall here. Chad made hard contact. You see him moving around in the truck. That's the good news, is he's okay. See the head and neck restraint. That's the head and neck restraint he has on right there. His helmet hooks to that. If he gets a very, very hard impact, that will actually hold his helmet in position to keep it from stretching so far.
So Chad Blunt makes the walk to the ambulance. We've seen that a few times already today. Bill Lester, J.R. Patton made that same walk earlier. Lap 105, we had a red flag condition. David Rudiman, Bill Lester, J.R. Patton, Robert Huffman, all involved in an accident. Now Chad making his way to the ambulance, not happy at all. But Phil, he really can't be upset with anyone in particular. It was his own truck that actually got loose.
Ricky's 29-20, so they've lost a second in just 40 laps. But there's a blown motor going into turn 4.
Caution's out.
Right in front of the leader, you saw Jack Sprague drive by. There's Chase Montgomery, the A truck. Looks like he might have made some contact either coming off turn number 2 or maybe at the exit of the dogleg in the backstretch.
It looks like he might have blown that right front tire, Phil, just as he made the dogleg on the back straightaway and hit the outside retaining wall. There's a mark, on the outside wall.
Big mark right there. They do have the safer barriers here, but that looks like that's a spot that the safer barrier has not been installed yet. It's on around that straightaway towards the corner a little bit.
Did a lot of damage to that truck.
See the window net's down.
Let's take a look at what took place.
Here they are exiting the dogleg right here. After, Michael, as you said, the right front tire went down. And I'm sure he turned the steering wheel, but it did nothing when that right front tire went down.
Well, I just said they would all pit if the caution came out around lap 40.
I would think they will all come. Right now, the pit road is being shown as closed. Just a few moments ago, big time wiggle off turn number 4. Steve got real loose on throttle. Getting a report that something happened to Hank Parker Jr.
There's Steve as we are under caution.
That's what happened to Hank Parker Jr. You can see the damage to the right side of that truck off of turn number 2. He made some contact with the outside wall.
Pull everything away from it.
Wanting to clear out the wheel well. We'll come back and sort everything out for our second caution coming out for Hank Parker Jr. after these messages.
International Raceway, you see Steve Park has come to the pit road in his Orleans Dodge. The problem is overheating terrible, 245 degrees on the oil, so they wanted to pull tape off the front. Went ahead and put tires on it also for Park here at lap 57. Now all of the guys in the garage told me they need to get to lap 74 to 79 before they're ready to make it the rest of the way. So this will not be the last pit stop for Steve Park, but his engine was way too hot.
A lot of damage to the 07. That's Sean Murphy piloting that truck this week. And we'll take a look at how that damage happened.
We're going to be coming off turn number 2. He and Hank Parker Jr. were racing side by side. Going to see him come off turn number 2. He gets up into Hank Parker Jr. He hadn't quite cleared him. That just turned him into the outside wall, but a lot of damage for Hank Jr. also.
Both of those trucks were a lap down and got together. More damage to the 07 than to the 21 of Hank Parker Jr.
I think Hank came in the pits right after that happened, so he was actually in the pits when the caution came out. So that's why he got put one lap down, because he was in the pits and the leader came out around the racetrack and put him a lap down while he was in the pits just as the caution was coming out.
You can see him doubling up. The field has got the one to go signal. We get back to green flag racing.
Welcome back to the Chevy Silverado 150 at Phoenix International Raceway. You see the 75 of David Starr in for 4 tires. They are putting a rubber in the right rear, so it took a little bit longer on the right-hand side as they continue to go to work. They also raced the track car 1 round. Let's check in with Ray.
Ted Musgrave's Mopar Dodge is here. Steve Iranian, Keith Plaza doing the tire changes. Just a little bit of a hang-up on the right front. Left front, but Musgrave will get out with plenty of time here. His biggest problem was getting around the 12 truck of Robert Huffman. He held him in pretty tight, but Musgrave with a great pit stop gets off the pit road first.
And the reason everyone came in for a pit stop is because our 4th caution took place. Problems between Mike Skinner, who you see the work being done on his truck, and the 88 of Tracy Hines.
We're going down in turn number 3. You see Mike Skinner looks to the inside, but Tracy had already committed to drive to the bottom of the racetrack. Mike did all he could do, Michael, to stay off him, but unfortunately he lost control, got a little bit sideways, made some contact to turn Tracy up into the wall.
Check out how violent this sounds, Phil. Check this out. And watch Chad Chapman come through here. Whoa. They just split right in time for him to shoot through the middle.
Fortunately, Mike Skinner slid down to the bottom of the racetrack, and Chad had a little bit of a hole to go through.
A lot of damage to the number 5 of Mike Skinner. Ted Musgrave continues to lead this field. Todd Bodine, his closest competitor. We'll be back with more from Phoenix. To go, Darlington is going to be a very big key in this championship.
It sure is. It's going to be such a great run under the lights at Darlington. Never in the 50-some year history of Darlington have we run under the lights, so it's going to be a great show.
We're under our 4th caution, and this is why. Sunday night on Fox at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's the season premiere of The Simpsons. Homer's family. Problems with the 1 of Ted Musgrave. He slows as he goes through 1 and 2.
Right front ready, boys. Yeah, it looked like a right front flat as he went into turn 1.
There goes Jack Sprague by him. Todd Bodine and David Starr also have gotten by. So David Starr takes over the lead at Phoenix, and we slow down. You see the sparks coming out. Ray, what's going on with the 1?
Right front tire is flat for Ted Musgrave, guys. Just unbelievable. They had this thing really wound up, and Musgrave said it just started shaking real bad. You can see it's the right front. They'll head to pit road and lose at least 2 laps here.
What a horrible break for Ted Musgrave. This may very well take him completely out of this championship hunt for the year with this bad break of a flat tire.
Oh, we got a crash.
In 2 big problems. Terry Cook and Ken Weaver getting into each other.
Musgrave is going one through his pit, Bill. He did not stop. He's going to stay on the lead lap, but you can see the sparks coming out from underneath the truck. That's grinding on the sway bar arm. He could do more damage by staying on the track here and not losing a lap than he would have been able to do if he had just stopped and got a tire.
Michael, he's probably said, hey, the only shot we have at salvaging our championship hopes are staying on the lead lap. We've got to take a chance at tearing the bodywork and the sway bar arm off this truck to stay on the lead lap. Now that he can get caught it back up, come in and get that flat tire off there, he can stay on the lead lap, he can salvage maybe a decent finish. If he goes 2 laps down, he's history.
Well, that's assuming that he doesn't break the sway bar arm right now, which he would be history as well. I like what you're saying, though. Let's roll the dice here. Do you realize how crazy racing is? 1 lap ago, that man was within 30 points of leading the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series points, and now he's battling for his life in this points battle.
Look at the tire coming off of that, Ray.
Guys, keep in mind, he was about 6 feet away from his pit stall and already on the brakes here whenever the caution came out. So timing can be everything as it is. Now, they'll pit this time no matter what, even though they have to go to tail end of the longest line. They got to get a right front on there, as Michael said. They don't want to tear that fender off there, so the guys will go to work for him right here. As he gets to the pit stop, Steve Haraney is the front tire changer, and Keith Plaza. They go to the other side. They said, what about right side tires? He said, let's do them both now that we're under yellow. They'll get just rights on it only, but they're going to lose a lap anyway. Here come the leaders. They go past, and Musgrave will indeed lose a lap.
The pace truck gets by Ted Musgrave, and so Ted Musgrave.
Now, there's a chance, Phil, that if Ted had stopped and made his pit stop when he was near his pit when the green flag was out and then got lapped and left the pit quick enough, he could have got the free pass. He wasn't the cause of the caution. The caution was over off turn 2. He might have been just behind the leader and gotten the free pass had he have just changed his tire when he came in the pits the first time.
Yeah, there was a situation where he rolled the dice and unfortunately didn't work. It was a great plan. Let's see if we can take a look at what happened with this accident.
Outside.
Travis Quapple's on the inside. He makes contact with Kid Weaver. Kid spins around right in front of the race, right in front of Robert Huffman. Robert makes contact.
Brandon Witt hits him.
Terry Cook on the outside.
Nice job
gets
at
through
Terry
there.
Cook.
Scott Lynch spins on the bottom of the racetrack. Deborah Renshaw spins on the right of your screen. You see the contact right there. Pretty hard contact. Robert Huffman hits the wall pretty hard too. You could hear that.
Let's ride along with the Federated Auto Parts 52 of Ken Schrader.
Stay down. Those speed now they're spinning. Caution will be out. Caution's out. Oh, nice job, bud.
Now Robert Huffman just going to get a surprise of his life here.
Right here. No caution. Watch out. We should get the free pass, Eddie. We should.
The watch out happened about a millisecond
Well, there was nothing Robert Huffman could do. That 808 truck just spun right down the hill in front of him, right in his lap. Nowhere to go.
It looked like he might have, if he could have stayed up against the wall, but unfortunately when the truck turned around, it shot down the bottom of the racetrack and caught Robert Huffman. There you see Robert getting out. Obviously he's okay. What a tough break for Robert Huffman. That team's gotten better and better and better as the season's worn on, but unfortunately it's going to be a short end today.
And just think, Phil, the one truck of Ted Musgrave, his problems will continue because he has to start at the tail end of the longest line for pitting too soon. He pitted too soon when that caution came out, and so he will have no shot at getting the free pass on his first restart at least.
5th caution comes out. The 08, the 12, the 10, and the 38 all involved on lap 124. Take a look at this problem in turn 2.
Radio and said the only way to fix it is to run a different line. You keep hitting the same lines. Chad Chaffin is in the wall.
Big hit for the 18 of Chad Chaffin. That Dickey's Dodge came and hit the inside wall very hard coming off of turn 4.
They were racing 3 wide, Rick, as they exited turn 4, and Chad Chaffin wound up with the short end of that stick. They got together. He shot down in the inside wall.
Shortened that truck up quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot of damage to the front of that truck. Left rear tire not even turning right now. See if we can take a look at what happened. As you mentioned, Michael, they were racing right in front of them. You see the 24 of Travis Quabbel makes some contact. Chad turns to the inside as Terry Cook went to the inside of John Wood. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, had nowhere to go, just made a little bit of contact, just turned him straight into the inside wall. This racetrack's only about 50 feet wide on the front stretch, and he had so little room to try to save that truck. Ray.
Hey guys, I had said earlier that Chad will not be driving this 18 next year. We did confirm that earlier today. That does not necessarily mean that he won't have something to do with Bobby Hamilton Racing, but Chase Montgomery will take over the reins of the number 18 next year. And as I told you, Dickey's will not be back on this truck. They are very close to signing sponsorship for it, but a driver change here as we get close to the end of the year. So Chad Chaffin, not quite sure what he's going to do. He has 3 different options here in the Craftsman Truck Series. Again, one of those may still be with Bobby Hamilton Racing.
Problem.
We are confused, but we know that. But oh no, crash!
Shane Meal.
Shane Meal having problems. Hank Parker Jr. getting caught up in the number 21. We hear radio communications from his team asking if he has a flat tire.
A lot of body damage. That was Steve Meal. You mentioned Shane's father spotting for him. He looks like the right front tire may be flat. A lot of damage to the left rear corner. As you can see, Hank Parker Jr. was also involved with that. There's Hank. Quite a bit of damage to the front of his Toyota. Look at the right front wheel. That is not turned the right way.
It actually is turned to the left right now, and that's big damage for the 21 Airvest Toyota of Hank Parker Jr.
Yeah, we're done.
Let's take a look again at how this took place.
Wow, that's a lot of damage on a restart too, Phil.
Well, you know, restarts, cautions breed cautions. There's Shane right there at the 15 truck. Center of your screen. Let's see what happens when they get down in turn number 1 here. Shane goes up high. He must have had a flat tire. He bounces off the wall.
Man.
Hank had nowhere to go, came along. Todd Bodine narrowly avoided that accident with a 30 truck. Shane must have had a flat right front tire when he drove down in turn number 1.
There just wasn't any way for him to turn the truck, or he had some stuff on his tires. He didn't get his tires cleaned off. But here at Darlington, that's not usually a problem. So probably had a flat tire.
NASCAR is now calling this the competition caution. What a great move by the 2 truck of Casey Kane.
Genius.
They don't have a half a lap on these tires. He's going to have track position. Everyone else is going to come down pit road this time. A great move like we thought.
That's why I love racing. Do not ever have a plan, because every time a wheel turns, the plan has to change, don't you think?
Yep.
You have to be constantly adjusting your strategy. Pit road is still closed right now, so when this all shakes out, the 2 trucks going to be leading with a nice little light scuff on his tires.
Just knocked the new off him a little bit.
Now the folks watching at home probably think, you know, that we're not that smart.
No, they're saying those 2 veterans have really got this figured out.
No wonder they're in the booth instead of out there driving. But I'm not kidding you. It could have worked out so differently.
Now, does this play into Bobby Hamilton's favor having that extra set of tires that we've talked about?
Not as of yet. I think the competition caution in itself probably did not play in Bobby Hamilton's favor. He would love for this race to have gone, again, just as Michael mentioned, cautions every 25 or 26 laps. Everybody here knew that the caution was going to come out at lap 40, or in this case now lap 36 or 37 is when all these trucks will make pit stops. So this is probably not what Bobby Hamilton wanted to see, but he knew that going into this race. As Michael said earlier, he's probably not going to be able to use that extra set of tires, but it's nice to know that he has them. You never know if you get turned around in an accident and you flat spot your tires, you can come right back in, put another set of tires on, and you'll be right back with fresh tires. Whereas if you had one set less, then that would be one of your allotted set, and NASCAR will not give you flat spotted tires. You have to only flat tires on the rim will you could be able to replace.
And we have to reiterate, when we mention Bobby Hamilton with an extra set of tires, it's not that NASCAR or Goodyear gave him an extra set of tires. It's that he only took 4 laps of practice on Thursday preparing for this race, whereas everyone else was out there for 15, 20, 25 laps. Wendy? You're hearing debris in the backstretch. Our 4th caution flies for the evening. The 67 of J.R. Patton hitting the wall on the backstretch, and so debris causing this 4th caution to fly. We take a look at the problems with J.R. Patton.
We saw him hit the wall a few moments ago. He's up there in no man's land.
Boy, Chase has a hard time exiting turn 2, doesn't he?
There's the debris bouncing along behind the truck, but yeah, Chase helped him a little bit. It looked like it into the fence.
Now, Phil, the plot thickens a little bit here. We've run 20 laps, and I'm thinking we're going to get some pit stops.
This is where Bobby Hamilton, if nobody else pits, this is where Bobby Hamilton.
Problems with the 06. There's Jay Sauter off the pace on the backstretch, and that brings out caution number 5.
That was cool. Wait till you see the replay of this.
Yeah, Jay said he spun and never hit anything, which is a pretty good chore here at Darlington.
And I want to tell you how bad this was and how good of a job Jay did. NASCAR threw the caution because he was wrecking, but he never wrecked. And they were the lights were on, and the flagman was saying, "What do I do?" He didn't crash, and finally he threw the yellow flag. This was an amazing job of driving by Jay Sauter. It all got wadded up, Phil, exiting turn 2. 4 or 5 trucks just got in a pile, and Jay got hit and shot out of there. Wow. Watch this.
This is exiting turn number 2 here. So it looked like Ty Bodine may have bounced off the wall. Jay was all over the racetrack and never even spun.
Watch him. Shane's shooting around the top.
Watch the 30. Watch the 30. Oh, the 88 forces the 30 up into the wall. He comes off the wall, catches the right front corner of Jay, and sends him towards the inside. Jay steered the whole way, kept that truck out of the wall, never even spun out. And as you mentioned, NASCAR thought he was crashing, and he threw the caution flag.
So there almost was a crash by Jay Sauter. Take a look at why we're under this caution. This was the 8th caution to come out. Josh Richardson right behind Dennis Setzer.
It's just a bad break there. Josh is obviously on some better tires than Dennis and drove up there and got sideways and run into him. You really hate to be a factor in the championship, and I know Josh hates what happened, but Dennis just got spun out there. Wendy, what's going on in the pits? Anything?
A little bit of arguing between crew chief Danny Gill and the NASCAR officials. He was arguing that all 4 tires were flat. He should get a set of stickers to be able to put on the truck. NASCAR was saying no, they're not going to let him have a set of stickers. Danny Gill says it's a shame that tires is what's going to win the championship.
Well, tires have been the story tonight. I mean, we've covered it from one end to the other. I've been on both sides of the fence thinking it wasn't going to work, and it was going to work. And, man, I guess we should have seen with what happened to Park and John Wood in just 20 laps. They got lapped.
Well, remember
championship right now.
Carl Edwards. Oh, he spins him out.
Carl Edwards got on the inside of Bodine. The smoke flying. Bodine still yet to turn around. Now he gets spun around. The caution will come out. This is the 9th caution of the night. We will finish green-white checker.
A terrific break for Casey Kane. He was able to hold off those drivers for 2 or 3 laps. He's only going to have to do it for 2 laps. His tires are going to be able to cool during the caution flag. I tell you, this race may not be over for Casey Kane.
Dennis Setzer, what about the rebound he's made? Shot all the way up to the 17th spot, Phil.
Yeah, great recovery for Danny Gill and Dennis Setzer, that entire Chevy Silverado team.
They're 80 points out of the championship.
All right. I don't think he's going to beat him. I think Casey's going to win.
I do too. Here's what happened. You see Carl Edwards, he's got fresher tires than Todd Bodine. He's trying to be patient. He's going to drive down. He actually just runs in the back of him, clutches him in the left rear corner.
Look at Steve Park. Just slips by. It's so hard to drive down there on the apron. It's so slippery, Phil. Steve did a great job getting by. He's now running the top 5.
Carl lost a number of positions because he was on the outside. Let's ride with David Starr. You see this smoke up there.
Hold your line. Back it down a little bit. Coming across. All the way to the bottom. Go high. Straight through. Straight through.
Good job by David Starr's spotter. Guiding him right through. Here's Mike Skinner's on board.
In front of us. In front of you. He's up. He's up. He's up. Stay high. Stay high. Stay high.
Oh,
he's up.
wow.
He's up, man.
Runs in the back of Matt Craftsman. That's how you're supposed to settle it. NASCAR will actually settle it. You just drive up beside the guy and let NASCAR tell you where you're supposed to go. Carl slowed down so much after that contact that turned around Todd Bodine that about 5 or 6 trucks passed him. But now he's trying to determine what spot he's supposed to be in, because NASCAR says as long as you maintain proper speed, you will be able to get your lap or your position back, because you do not race back to the flag. So NASCAR has to look at the film and determine exactly where Carl should line up.
And I'm not sure how that works. I've been confused sometimes about how exactly we get lined up. But what happens, there's invisible lines across the racetrack that are timing lines that put the trucks in order when they cross that line. Now, the caution comes out. You might be ahead of a guy that you were behind when you went across this line on the racetrack. NASCAR uses those lines in order to line the field up. So Carl slowed down, lost 10, 12 spots, but he went across the line ahead of those guys. It'll be interesting to see if they put him back in front of them.
Can we compare this back to your win at Nashville, when a caution happened right in front of you and you were able to drive through it, and when it was scored out, green flag.
Green flag.
Well, we brought him down slow, Rick.
Oh, problems! Bobby Hamilton Jr. gets spun around. Bobby Hamilton Sr. takes over the juice line, and problems behind them. David Ruderman hitting very hard into the side of the 59 of Bobby Hamilton Jr.
That means the race is over. We only get to do a green-white checkered one time.
And I hope Bobby Jr. is okay. That's the worst.
Yeah, David Ruderman also quite hard contact.
Bobby Jr.'s moving around.
He's taking a net down.
See if we can pan back and see if Ruderman's okay in there. Look at the right front tire, Phil. It's driven all the way back to the 17 on the door. What a terrible crash.
What a hard lick. Great to see Bobby Jr. pull that window net down on his own. There you see Bobby Jr. right there taking his helmet off.
Obviously frustrated. And Bobby Sr. was coaching him not to get into the back of the 2 on the restart. And look at what happened to Bobby Hamilton Sr.'s front end as he got into the back of his son, Bobby Hamilton Jr.
Wow. Here they come to take the white flag. Casey Kane will be your winner. Bobby Sr. will finish second. But what a horrible break. I'm sure Bobby Hamilton, under no circumstances, wanted this race to end that way. And I'm sure his concern right now is way more than finishing position and points. It's for Bobby Jr. right there, who's great to see him get out of that truck.
Well, I hope Ruderman's okay. We haven't seen him yet, but I was concerned about Bobby Jr. and the way that truck hit right in the driver's door. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here, Phil. What went wrong with this restart?
It looked like maybe Casey Kane was spinning the tires again. You see him wiggle a little bit, and Bobby Jr. laid off it from some reason. I don't know if he backed off or maybe he spun the tires, but Bobby Sr., wow, hard contact from David Ruderman. Remember, David had that hard crash at Atlanta a few weeks ago. But so great that the safety devices that NASCAR has implemented does so much for these drivers.
Ruderman got out of his truck and into the ambulance on his own power. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Bobby Jr. missed a shift.
Looks like he missed a shift, and Bobby Sr. had no way to avoid that. But what hard contact again. That's a second hard hit for David Ruderman in the last few weeks.
Watch the smoke out of the left side of this truck. See it right there?
Yeah.
That's a missed shift or something malfunctioned in the truck's engine.
Yeah,
drive line when he went to shift.
I said Atlanta was actually Texas, where David Ruderman and Bill Lester made such hard contact over the outside wall.
Checkered flag will fly as Casey Kane comes across the start-finish line. This wasn't the way he wanted it to end, but it is a win nonetheless in his first ever Craftsman Truck Series start.
What a terrific job by Tripp Bruce, the entire Ultra Motorsports team, Team ASA, CarQuest Dodge. Casey Kane jumps in this thing. They had Jamie McMurray jump in this thing a few weeks ago when the race in Martinsville. Casey Kane jumps in it. First ever Truck Series race, puts it in victory lane again.
We look again at why we finished under caution. This is the restart, the final restart with 2 laps to go. Bobby Hamilton Jr. getting spun around. David Rudeman caught up into that. And that brought out the final caution of the night, the 10th and record caution for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Darlington. Matt Crafton out in front, claims the first lap lead. And problems in turn 1. Kelly Sutton and John Wood getting collected up in turn 1. Caution will come out. Because of these 2 trucks. And we don't know if John Wood will be able to continue on. It looks as though he's going to try to get back into the pits and see what the damage is. But if these 2 trucks are off of the track, that will mean that Ted Musgrave has been eliminated from the championship hunt.
That's a horrible way for John Wood to end his truck career too. They just announced earlier this week that he's going to go over to the Busch Series, drive for ST Motorsports. So this will be his last ride in a Roush truck.
But just think about Musgrave. At least he doesn't have to run the whole race before he finds out this year.
Looks as though John Wood got a little sideways and Kelly Sutton got caught up.
Well, it appeared that John wasn't too happy with whatever went down when he left the scene of the accident, so might be a little early to determine what happened. Might need to roll back up the front straightaway and see if we can get any more details.
Our first caution has come out in our final race of the season. Dennis Setzer has to finish in the top 14 to even have a chance. We'll be back with more. High side of the corner. Trouble. Oh! That is Robert Huffman into the wall coming off of turn number 4.
Man, he just lost that thing off of 4 and he could never get it back. He just kept chasing it right into the inside wall.
It looked as though he was going to get it, and then all of a sudden right into the inside wall. Moved hard left, and they're coming off of turn 4, and that sun is definitely in their eyes, and you can see the tape on the windshield to try to block some of that.
Pretty hard contact with the inside left side of that truck. See a lot of damage.
Now, Phil, he came off of 4, and it looked like the thing, almost like something broke or the throttle stuck. He just kept losing it all the way into the inside wall. Never slowed a bit.
And that's not the safer barriers down there on the inside wall. So that's a hard hit right on the driver's side. I hope Robert's okay.
Safety crews getting to him. Let's take another look at what happened.
Just got a little bit loose off the corner there.
You know, I really think he thought he was going to save it, and he just stayed after it, and he couldn't quite catch up with it. I mean, look at the speed he's carrying into that wall.
Wow, and that's a pretty solid hit. If you hit with the front and then the back, it seems like you lose a lot of the energy. But when you hit it as flush as Robert did like there, it really transfers a lot of that energy right into the seat. We're riding with David Starr. Watch to the outside of your screen on the outside of the racetrack. As you mentioned, it looks like he almost had it saved. He thought he was going to save it. That white truck slid by him just before he went across the racetrack.
Second caution has come out as the safety crews are dealing with Robert Huffman. Problems coming off turn number 4. We'll be back with Ford 200.
Welcome back to Homestead, Miami, as we're under caution for the second time today. Now, you may be wondering what Bobby Hamilton was thinking.
Problems for J.R. Patton in the 67. He gets spun around, comes to a stop in front of pit road. At least the commitment line. He tries to get it going again, but the caution flag will fly.
Come on around. Stay up next to the wall. Keep it going.
And so our third caution has come out at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Well, we didn't expect pit stops this early, but Bobby Hamilton said he was very free in the middle, so they wanted to make a track bar adjustment for the Square D Dodge. Now also, the number 46 of Dennis Setzer, second in our points, comes in. He said he just could not hold on to his truck, so they're going to put 4 tires on it, also make a wedge adjustment. Wendy?
No tires for Steve Park. It was fuel only, and they also checked the front valence. They thought he had a little bit of damage, but the 62 truck looked good when it came to a stop, but fuel only for Steve Park.
If I was racing for a championship right now, and I was Bobby Hamilton, I don't know if I'd want to be at the back of the pack right now. Now, some of these other guys makes a lot of sense, make some good adjustments, maybe help their truck, but I think I may have rode it out there for a little bit longer.
This is why we're under caution. The problem coming off of turn number 4.
Sean Murphy, the 07, got a little bit loose, made some contact with J.R. Patton.
Patton slid down the track, came to rest just in front of the pit entrance. We'll be back.
Trouble down here, turn 2, guys.
Oh, we have problems in turn 1 and 2. David Starr getting up too high. It looked as into the wall. Makes his way down onto the access road coming off of pit road.
And Darrell, he spun right down in front of Bobby Hamilton.
That's what I was saying there. I was holding my breath. But I'm sure Bobby Hamilton was doing more than that.
Doesn't look like David made any contact with the outside wall.
It looked like it was lightly, slightly, and politely.
Come this time. If you have any flats, come this time.
They may not be flat, but they're flat spotted without a doubt.
Yeah, he went for a
come
slide.
this time. If you don't stay out, make a lap.
Dave McCarty tells him, if you have any flat tires, at least don't take a chance of tearing the bodywork off this truck. Come on in the pits.
Down on the inside of another truck. We've seen the truck on the inside get loose when they get down into the corners. Wow, he got loose in a hurry.
Looked like he got loose almost before he even turned in the corner. Looks like he did a great job. Ooh, was that Bobby Hamilton?
It was. I'm telling you, he just barely got through.
Very lucky for not only David Starr, but Bobby Hamilton.
Just to keep our eye out for Bobby Hamilton.
Oh, here he comes.
He must have went around the other side. Where was he?
I don't know. I thought
we missed it.
We missed it. We thought it was Bobby. There was Bobby right there, so it wasn't quite as close as we thought it was.
That was super slow-mo, though.
That's right. It happened a lot faster than that.
I wish Rex would happen that way, don't you? Man, slow them suckers down, you can miss more of them.
There's times when you get in trouble, it seems like it's slow motion before you finally hit something.
Oh, yeah, because you know what's going to happen. What do you think, guys? Think they'll all pit?
I think they're coming. I think they're coming.
I think the 4 and the 46 might stay out, though. What do you think?
He didn't take tires. I think they'll get tires this time.
Bobby Labonte brings the field down pit road, right?
Well, Shane Meal said, we'll come if the leaders do, and he did just that. They want to go down a couple of rounds on the track bar to tighten him up a little bit. Also pull just one little bit of tape off of the front because Shane said his truck was running just a little bit hot. Now let's check in with Wendy.
The 47, Bobby Labonte is happy with his truck. They will take 4 tires, but no adjustments for the 47. Also, you see Skinner coming in. The right front was shaking a little bit on that tire, so the caution came out. Perfect timing for Mike Skinner. They were a tick tight. They're going to make a track bar adjustment and add tape on the grill.
And a lot of different strategies this time, guys. Some guys took no tires again.
We saw the 46 indeed stay out, Ray.
Well, I'll tell you, the 4 truck was the one, Michael, that I had my eye on here for Bobby Hamilton. A very, very slow pit stop. But I heard him on the radio say, just before this race began, he said, guys, no mistakes here. We cannot have a mistake on pit road. So if the pit stops are a little bit slower than normal, that's better than us having a loose lug nut or whatever other problems we might encounter. So a bit of a slow stop, and I think that'll put Hamilton towards the back as we get ready to restart this time.
Bobby Hamilton wanted nothing like what happened there. A tire getting away from someone's pit stall. It wasn't Bobby Hamilton's, though. We'll be back with more racing. Miami.
But we need to make sure we're in sync on fuel.
Ted Musgrave to the inside of Murphy.
Trouble off turn 2 is Schrader. He's around, and here comes traffic. Keep it up there, Kenny. Keep it up there, buddy.
Actually, off turn 4, Kenny Schrader gets spun around. Caution coming out again on lap 38.
Take a look at what the drivers are looking at now. You see the sun, you see out of Schrader's windshield. All these drivers came off that corner looking straight at the sun, and they all managed to avoid Kenny. Good heads-up driving.
Bobby Hamilton got him another look at a spinning truck. I bet you that's too many that two more than he thought he would see today. He tried to tell us before the race started, Darrell, he just wanted this thing to be smooth and run it right off.
Yeah, no cautions.
Yeah.
No cautions, no nothing.
That hasn't worked out at all.
Tough break for Kenny Schrader. I know how much he was looking forward to this race. He said he was not very good out there. We'll see if we can see what happened. Steve Park was right behind him. I'm not sure if there was any contact or not.
Knowing Schrader the way I do, I'd say there might have been a little contact.
Yeah,
because he don't just spin out.
He was dead in the throttle. Looked like almost a little bit of a shudder there.
The thing shook. I don't know if it
did it have a flat.
Might have had a right rear go down.
Something shook on that truck.
Sure did.
There's Bobby Hamilton down on the inside of the track.
Wave them off. Go down. There you go. Come on.
I would say it'd give you gray hair, but you can't say that about Bobby.
Kenny Schrader bringing the Federated Auto Parts number 52 to stop in the garage area. And that is our 5th caution of the day. We'll be back. Ted Musgrave on top. Tim Schindel.
Yeah, Tim Schindel, tough break. Did a great job coming in and qualifying that truck in this field.
Well, those guys on the back, they didn't have any idea the caution was out. It was a late caution, I think. They were waiting to see if the 43 got going or not.
There's another caution, Phil. How many is that? 5?
That's the 6th caution that's come out, Mike.
6th caution.
Yeah, and they're all off turn 4.
44 laps, 6 cautions.
What do you think about that, Michael?
I just think that the guys are moving that line up, you know, and it's freeing their trucks up. Obviously, they run up higher because that's where they finally get to when the truck will turn. So it's a little bit freer up high. Some guys' trucks just get loose when they exit turn 4.
They'll hang that right rear tire out in the gray stuff. Maybe there's a little bit of debris up there, and it just gets these trucks turned around. We saw Carl Edwards get up there, and he just stayed in the gas and drove to the lead.
And we see Tim moving around inside that truck. Just to let you know, earlier, the 12 of Robert Huffman did a very similar move coming off of 4, came and hit the inside wall. NASCAR has let us know that they're actually transporting him to a local hospital to do further observations, but we did see him get out of his truck and walk to the ambulance, and so hopefully that's precautionary measures.
Got a challenge for second place. 23, Johnny Benson up beside of Rudeman there. That's the signal that you think you should be ahead of him.
We're seeing some faster laps right now. The fastest lap of this race was just set by Casey Kane right before that caution flag at a 31.82. That was a couple tenths quicker than anyone had run this entire race.
And, you know, Casey won in his first time out in that truck last week, and here he comes making his way into the mix of things, being a factor here before even halfway.
Just got a little bit loose off of 4 right there.
That's a helpless feeling.
Oh, man.
Just knowing you're going to hit that wall and hoping you won't. You talk about slow motion. That feels like slow motion right there.
There's so little room between the outside wall and the inside wall here. There's just no room to catch these trucks when these drivers get sideways coming off the corner.
Ray?
4 and 4 is coming.
And you call them cats. Look at the cat coming behind Carl Edwards right now. That's Shane Meal getting into the mix.
He pushed Carl right by Bobby Labonte.
Whoa, Bobby got loose big time.
Oh, here he goes sideways. Bobby Labonte spinning, coming off of turn 4. We've seen this numerous times.
No caution. No caution.
They don't need one unless they wreck behind him.
Bobby Labonte getting it straightened back out. He comes onto the track. No caution. Bobby Labonte hit the cones, the commitment cones, as you come onto pit road. Now that could cause a problem later for scoring for NASCAR or for decisions that they make, but no caution has come out as of yet.
They're going to be a caution. They're going to replace those.
We thought he was going to be the free pass, and he was going to be. Oh, we're going to spin. Steve Park.
Steve Park gets spun around, and it looked as though Johnny Benson got into the back of Steve Park as they came off of turn number 2. We'll have to take another look at that, but Steve Park spinning around. The caution flag flies for the 9th time today.
Well, that's all at the end of the day like this. All you need is these cautions because it's double line restarts, and you're just going to have this for probably several restarts.
Shane was given the free pass last time, but he pitted before pit road opened. So NASCAR said if you make a mistake when you're the free pass recipient, you do not get it. So he did not get it that time, but he is in position right now to get it. So he will get the free pass this time as long as he doesn't make another mistake, and he'll be back on this lead lap.
Ooh.
There was definitely some contact right there coming off turn number 2. You saw the back end of Steve Park's truck lift off the ground.
I don't know if maybe Steve tried to squeeze up in line or if Johnny just didn't give Steve enough room. We'll see here what happens.
Listen, Mike.
Steve just kind of slid up in front of Johnny.
That Harry Gant would say, I didn't even really hit him. I just got up again.
Got to get him. Got to get him. From David Spears, Spears Manufacturing, David Starr, Spears Manufacturing on board. Steve did a great job of spinning that truck down off the banking. Another look at it.
That.
Watch that back of that truck lift off the ground. You see the roof flap come up. That helps put the truck back on the ground.
Spoiler coming up on the top of the truck, keeping it on the track. 9 cautions have flown at Homestead Miami Speedway. Oh, smoke coming out of the 15 of Shane Meal. Shane Meal avoiding the cones, the commitment line. Square D Dodge number 4. Spin coming off of turn 4. That's not Bobby Labonte or Bobby Hamilton. Hamilton clearing that and comes across the start-finish line as your 2004 champion.
Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. If you're interested in more content like this, check out our back catalog of videos. We have hours and hours and hours of compilation videos, podcasts where you'll get news, you'll get my opinion on certain things, which who doesn't want to hear that. Check it out. If you would, like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads. We will be making more videos like this one. So, if you're interested, turn on notifications, like, subscribe, the works. And I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. God bless. Love you. Peace.